Hey, and welcome back to Bain's Bites. I'm Bain. So a lot of people have been asking me for ideas they can do on their Traeger that's not just ribs or brisket or burgers. So with Easter right around the corner, I'm going to show you guys today how I do a ham. We're going to get a glaze made up here real quick. We're going to take that same glaze, we're going to inject the ham to add a little bit more flavor. We'll put a rub on it, we'll throw it on the Traeger and give it a double smoke. So the first thing we need to do is start our glaze. We're going to turn our stove on. The first thing I'm going to add is some apple juice. Let's say about half a cup of apple juice. We're going to let that get up to temp. And as it's warming up, what I want to do is I've got some apricot preserves. We kind of want to melt these into that apple juice. So I'm going to take a big spoonful and then one more. Just to be safe, let's do a third. So I'd say that's about half a cup of apricot preserves. And the next thing we're going to add that's a little bit different is some jalapeño jelly. You can find this at most grocery stores, and we're going to do about the same ratio as the apricot preserves, maybe just a little bit less. Add a little bit of sweet, a little bit of heat, kind of give you a different flavor, a little bit of that pepper. So I'd say maybe a quarter cup of jalapeno jelly. We're going to let that get up to temp and melt it down. We'll add some brown sugar here in just a second. Just keep a stir on it so it doesn't burn. About medium, high heat is fine, doesn't matter. As long as you get it melted and dissolved into one good glaze. As it's coming up to temperature, I'm going to grab some brown sugar. And I'd say probably about a quarter cup to half a cup, depending on how much sugar you want to add, but it's going to melt in there, help thicken up, sweeten up that glaze. The last thing I'm going to add is just a little bit of apple cider vinegar to kind of wake it up and give it a little bit of a kick. I'd say about a tablespoon. We'll continue to melt this down, make sure it's all incorporated, the sugar's dissolved, and everything's good to go. And we'll let it chill for just a few minutes and cool off. So I poured our glaze and our injection into a little bit easier container to handle. We waited about 10-15 minutes, let it come down from being quite so hot. It's still pretty warm, which is good. I want it liquidy because we're going to inject it in our ham next. At the same time, I preheated the Traeger up to 275 degrees. It's ready to go. I've got apple pellets in there because I don't want a really heavy smoke. I just want a little bit. This thing's already fully cooked. It's already been smoked once, so we're just going to try to heat it back up. We're going to try to add a little bit of extra flavor into it. So we've got our glaze. I've got my injector. Just going to fill it up and work our way through this ham. Doesn't take a lot. I'm going about every inch. Just keep working our way all the way around it. It's okay if some leaks out, that's no big deal. That should be enough. So we're going to let this glaze sit out while the ham's on the Traeger, and it'll come back down to temp, and that jelly will kind of help thicken it up here before we go and glaze it at the very end. I'm going to grab a paper towel, wipe this dry, and we're going to get some rub on it. So we just got back from a trip out to Memphis, Tennessee, and while we were out there, just south of Memphis, we met a couple of our favorites around the old YouTube universe. We met Malcom from HowToBBQRight. We also met Mark Williams from SwineLifeBBQ. Mark was nice enough to let us try some of his rubs. He gave us some, we tasted it, and I'm going to use it today on this ham. I'm not putting down any salt or pepper because the ham's already got plenty of that. But before we add the rub, I'm going to take just some yellow mustard and rub it all over the ham. Just act as a binder so that rub sticks pretty well. We've got our mustard down so our rub sticks, and we're just going to put a nice coat all the way across it. Kind of help build that bark as we smoke this ham again. We'll pick it up and work the sides. So we've got our ham, we got our binder on it, we've injected it. I'm going to put about a half a cup of apple juice here in the bottom of the pan just to kind of help keep some moisture while we're smoking it out there. I can't wait to try this out on the Traeger. It was really great meeting Mark and meeting Malcom. Y'all be sure to check out their channels. We'll have a link down below. We've got everything ready. I'm going to stick a probe here in the deepest part of the ham so I can check that internal temp and keep an eye on it. We're gonna go throw it on the Traeger at 275. I'm thinking it's gonna take between 2 and 3 hours. We're gonna set our probe at about 130 degrees and watch it. Once we hit 130, we're gonna go out there with our glaze. We'll start brushing it on there until we bring it up to 140, let that glaze set. We'll see how we did. Our ham's sitting at 110, we're almost there. We're gonna start glazing soon, but let's take a peek and see how it's doing. It's looking good, it's starting to get a good color. I like it. We'll get it closed and wait till it hits 130. Our ham just hit 130 degrees. So until we get to 140, we're gonna go out and glaze it about every 5 or 10 minutes. I wanna try to get 3 or 4 good glazes on there before we pull it off and give it a try. Alright, it's been painful, but we took it off the grill, we waited 20 minutes, and I can't wait anymore. It's time to carve this thing up and see how it is. So this is a bone-in ham. If I turn it up, you can see the bone goes from here to here. So what I'm going to do is kind of cut down this seam to get a hunk of boneless meat out from there. So I'm just going to grab my knife, work my way around the bone. If I feel it, just make a little adjustment. Make sure I get all the way down. Turn it if you have to, and we'll cut out right here as well. So I'll grab a fork to hold it still, take off a little piece right here just to get him out of the way, and I'll make some slices. Oh, it smells so good. Move my fork back, get a couple more out of there. Alright, that'll probably do us for now, maybe one more. I had to grab some horseradish mustard. And just to kind of finish off this little section right here, we're going to take a little bit of our glaze and just dribble it over here over the top. That looks great. So let's see, let's dig in. We'll grab a piece. Super tender. Tears apart. That's so good. That's perfect. Try it with a little bit of mustard right here. What a great ham for your Easter dinner. Or Thanksgiving or Christmas or just a week like you're feeling like you want some ham. Turned out great. Thank y'all for watching. If you like what we're doing, subscribe to the channel. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it. And as always, have a great day. That glaze is so good. The pepper's just enough. We gotta try this one.